Yes.
And they said it wouldn't last.
Well, I will tell you something cool, though. We got our first official spontaneous feedback, and we've only had one episode out.
Oh, my God. You say, don't do it again.
No, it was actually really, really cool. By the way, I guess we better tell everybody what this is before we go any further.
Well, okay, we'll let you do the honors then. So.
Oh, that's all right. This is the weekly catch-up. Basically, Jeff and Jeffrey, my friend Jeff here, is from Australia. And I am from the U.S., and we have found that whenever we get together and talk, it always goes longer than what we plan. Right. So what we've done is set it up to where we're going to meet once a week and limit it to an hour, more or less. And then we will get on with it. And we have some interesting conversations. And what I was just getting ready to say was that we got our first official feedback. And even though we only did one show, so that was kind of cool. There's a guy that I work with that has followed my podcasting, and I just happened to mention that we had done that, and I had put it on my YouTube channel. And one of the things I found interesting is that people are using YouTube not just for video, but while he was at work, he actually brought it up on his phone and then just listened to the audio of it.
Oh, yeah.
So people are using, my wife, she does that all the time with music on YouTube. And so YouTube is kind of a podcasting platform almost, I guess you would call it, just for audio only type of content as well. But he listened to it, and this is the first thing that he's ever run into that I've been involved in producing that wasn't scripted, edited, produced, things like that. And it was just a spontaneous conversation. So it took him a minute to get used to it. But then he said he really liked it and he thought it was great. His name's John Adkins, by the way. He also had a really interesting suggestion. My first podcast was called, and it's still there, actually, still available. It's called Daggers of the Mind, the Philosophy of Celebrity Quotes.
Oh, God, that sounds a bit deep.
Well, I know it does, but it actually, Dagger of the Mind was a Shakespeare reference in Macbeth. Whenever he sees the dagger in front of him and he's trying to reach it and he can't get it, wonders if it is a dagger of the mind or, a false creation. And so the point is, celebrities are the most unreal people we know of, but occasionally, in spite of themselves, they say something rather profound. And so what I did 50 episodes of that. And there's 2 quotes per episode and little short essays on each one about things that, anyway, people, by the end of 50 episodes, I think people pretty much knew what I thought about the world. And so that was pretty much done, 100 short essays, and that was pretty much done. But what he suggested was that what we should do on this show was to bring up a quote and then discuss it, and then just take the discussion part of this show for the quote, just that, and then make another podcast episode of it for Daggers of the Mind. And to do it that way. What I could do is send you the quote the week before, an email or something like that, if you want to think about it, or I could just hit you with a cold turkey.
Well, I might just be silly enough that I said that doesn't mean anything to me, so you better say so I can pretend I know what you're talking about in that. So.
Okay, no, it isn't that deep. It's much more common language, normal stuff. It's not like ooh, or anything.
No, that's right. But that sounds like a good idea, because it's always good if you've got just one point for the show, something for the show to start you off with. So,
well, it seems
a good idea.
It seems to me what we could do is start each show talking about what we've been doing this week in media. For instance, I'm still there, I'm still editing away at my audiobook. I'm about halfway done now. And of course we did put the first Jeff and Jeffrey on YouTube.
Yes.
On the Holbrook New Media thing. And then, now I never have heard that much about your e-learning modules that you do. How do you get a hold of those?
Well, I do them because in my job, one of my jobs is to, develop different systems
Okay.
And when you develop something new, there's no books on it or no. So I think you call them job aids. You call there and create the learning materials for them. So that's what got me into it, because when you're looking for these sort of things, you can always get plenty of people to do them for you. It'll cost you $4,000 or $5,000 to do you an e-learning module. But one of the big problems with doing an e-learning module, yes, that's still not a bad price for somebody to do that for you. But you spend about 6 to 8 weeks explaining to the people who are doing it for you what you want.
And by the time
you've done that, so I thought, well, and then by the time you've done it and it's all produced, you put it live and then you change something. So you've got to go back. So I, quite about, what was it? Oh, probably 5-6 years ago, I decided, well, I can do this. I thought, no, I can't do the voiceover though. I'll get somebody else to do that. Then I was listening around a few of them and I thought, I don't sound as bad as some of the others out there. And plus what they say is that it doesn't matter as long as they can hear what you're saying. People will listen because you're a real person doing it. Whereas if you get somebody who doesn't know it, even that, no matter how good a voiceover they are, that shines through that they don't know. They're just doing what they're told to do. So that's how I got into that. And I'd always loved the video side of it. So trying to incorporate video with like using products like Captivate, Lectora, and Premiere Pro and all sorts of things like that, and Audition. And I actually had this week, I was listening to another podcast of somebody I know and was saying about something that Audition didn't do. So I did a little tutorial for him to say, it does. It was really good because he was saying, he loves it apart from it can't do this, so he has to go out to something else. But it just amazes me how many things are in all these software packages that you just don't know, because unless you really go looking for them, you don't know that they're there. And it's not something that everybody really wants to or everybody knows about. But that's what sort of gets me into my e-learning modules. And then I, like you, wanted to do some audio recording. And that's, I don't know why you saw me probably having a little smirk when you're saying you're doing your editing still for your book, because I think, gee, that's good of you. You're doing all your book. I'm just doing I'm doing a chapter, and that's still on page 1 of the editing. I've got to the stage where no, I'm just going to re-record it. I've got to page 2, and there's that many mistakes. I thought, but when I reread it without the microphone on, it's word perfect.
Yeah.
As soon as I switch that microphone on, it's really. I should just keep keep the mic going. Just do it again, because as soon as you get set up, right now, I'm going to do it now. Switch on. Oh, that's wrong.
Well, it's almost like there's electricity applied to the seat of your chair or something, and it makes you, you kind of feel that way. But whenever you have a 40,000 word book like I've got, you can't go back and re-record everything. You try to do it as you go. You might have to fix something, but it's not like you can just go back and re-record the thing. And again, this is my first audiobook, so I probably should have taken something smaller, but I'm forced to work out the situation as I go. And, so far, I have until the 18th to get it done, and I'm halfway with the editing, and I'm off tomorrow, and I'm going to do a whole lot more editing tomorrow probably than I did today. So. But
being fair, I do enjoy doing it, but it's a bit different. Like I said, if you've got an incentive, it's a proper paid gig, as it were, for you. You really put your time into it, where what I'm doing, it's just a voluntary thing. You do want a chapter every a month or so. So
that's with LibriVox.
Yeah. So you tend not LibriVox, but you tend not to hurry along, because you've got the 2 months, but sometimes you really should hurry along and do it. But when I get into other times, I can do a couple of chapters a week and get them edited. It all depends on what you've got going on and how noisy the traffic is outside. But when you're making a bit of recording, because I hate the sound coming out horrible. Don't mind video a bit if it can be a bit off. That doesn't matter. But I just really do hate the audio going off. It's got to be perfect. And even here, I was thinking, gee, this is sounding a bit hollow and echoey. I've got to put some more sound dampening on. But Rick said, no, it's sounding okay. I can't hear any other noise in the background. So every now and then you might still hear the dog snoring in the background. But
well, I have never picked up on the dog even with your condenser. And I saw when you did your camera switching last week, I could see your sound treatment against the wall over there. And I mean, that's what I have in here. You see, I've got my sound booth behind me, which just works like a big sound panel. But over in this direction, I've got sound treatment not as densely populated as you do. Yeah, there you go.
And then
but it's the same similar stuff, but it's on the wall here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and there's your road. Yay! I can see it, and there's a doggy. This guy's one eye open, but it's not worth lifting your head for.
You could see that he just looked. What are you doing? You're not going to wake me up, are you? And make me move. So
yeah, as long as that doesn't happen, we're good. No, what I was thinking was when we start the show, we could just say, okay, this is what we're doing this week. I worked on this module. I'm working on the audiobook. Hey, my audiobook's out, different things. Then whenever that kind of slows down or whatever, then we could go ahead and do a quote and just talk about the quote a little bit. And then, like you say, that segment would be what I would release the audio of that on the actual podcast that I had. Because
that'd be good.
I haven't released an episode in 6 months on that podcast, but I'm still getting a few hits every day, anywhere from 3, 5, or 30 or 40 sometimes. It's kind of weird because I guess new people were finding it or whatever. Whenever there's about 40 or so, it seems like someone downloaded the back catalog. You get that impression. But, 9 or 10 here or there, there's never a day when it's 0. I don't know where all the traffic's coming from. I haven't really checked on it to find out where it's coming from, but let's go ahead and put out some more episodes that way.
It's definitely not coming from down here, I don't think. I'm just amazed that I don't run into more people. Well, probably actually being fair to Blab, I've run into more people locally on Blab than I have anywhere else.
Oh, really? Wow.
It seems to get a lot of people on, but it's one of those things. It's later at night, people don't tend to come on. But I did send out a tweet saying to all the followers and that we are online. So let's see if we can make 2 shows without anybody coming past as well.
We're working on a record here.
That's right.
Right here it says share the last 30 seconds. Let's do that. I'll click on that and see what happens. Describe.
It'll come up with, it puts a 30-second GIF or GIF or whatever you want to call it, and you put a comment and goes on. So if we start going and waving on doing that, we'll capture that last 30 seconds of that. And I bet you it caught me doing that and looking at a total idiot.
Like at the dog or something like that. It says describe the moment. I'm just going to say, check it out. Just go for it. Fire.
Well, we could. And what I want to do though, I'll try and find something and put a little intro together so we can put that on.
Oh, that'd be cool. Yeah, like you say, you have the firepower to do that kind of thing on your end with the Wirecast and everything. That would be cool. Now, are you doing anything with the files afterwards, or am I the only one doing it?
I didn't do anything with it. No, I'll just let you put it on there. So.
Well, it'll be easier on you if I go ahead, I guess, and set up the Blab. I have to learn how to do that, and that way I'll just have the file, and then, if you want it, I can get it to you, I guess. But I mean, if you're not going to do anything with it, then might as well just save you the trouble of sending it to me.
I'll just have a look, see because I did something the other week, and I don't know what it did. So, and I was just thinking, because it said embed the code here. And I did, and I thought, "What on earth does that do?"
Well, it showed up on your website.
That's what I did, but I didn't know how it would, what it's showing up.
Well, it just showed the actual Blab from the beginning, and the recording of the Blab was on there.
Oh yeah, because it's just showing. This is what it's got on there at the moment. It's showing. See, that's what but it just says hit the play button. I suppose I can hit the play,
and it's probably going to be delayed, I'm guessing.
And then, but that's not. I thought I was hoping it would put just a little picture. Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Yay.
Yeah. So it did do that. So I might just do that, but I don't need. I can link that to the Blab, but yes, it's got to be mine though, hasn't it? Or I've got to get the embed. That's right.
Yeah, I don't see an embed over here anywhere.
No, it's
Um,
on Blab.
well, I mean, if you want to continue to do that to where you can just easily embed and then just give me the
Send
files
you.
the way you did,
Yeah,
that worked just fine this last time. But as
'cause I
far
might.
as me having to put things in the Blab, I don't necessarily have to. Or I could even tell you what a link would be, and then we could
Yeah.
you could do it from there. I could just copy it in or something.
Yeah. And I don't know if you noticed, and you've noticed, I've got a new piece of equipment this week.
What you got?
A new piece of
I see.
equipment.
I see your microphone, but it looks.
Oh no,
it's
no,
the
that's
same one you had last week.
Yeah, just taking the
Okay.
thing off it. That's off it. But these.
Yeah. Instead of doing the actual headphones, so those are actually in-ear monitors then, as opposed to.
But the Shure headphones, and the
Yeah.
thing is, you can get Shure monitor headphones, the proper ones that they have, and they're about $500, which is outrageous. And all I want is but these ones, even these are quite expensive. What I think, $90.
Wow. Okay.
But they're designed for Walkmans and all sorts. But all I need is so you can hear the sound. And it's been quite good. And I've got on too quickly, because usually what I'll do is once I put that round there,
around behind you.
But I just got on too early because I thought Rick did that to me the other day. Was calling me on Skype, and as soon as I switch on, I've got to set up because the camera's not on. You've got to do the live output, and he's ringing me. And I was like, I can't answer. And I'm answering, and he says, "Nobody said I can't because I can't hear it straight away." So I saw you were on. I thought, oh no, you're gonna jump in straight away and say, "Where are you?" And that's why he caught me with the ears. But these are quite good, and because they're properly molded. The funny thing was, though, as what do you do when you get something new and you don't know how to use them? You jump on YouTube, don't you?
Exactly.
So I watched a video of a 15-year-old boy show me how to put the earphones in, because these are quite awkward. They're not. If you don't put them in right, they don't fit. But the molded into your ears the way you put them in. But he just said, "No, just stuff them in, wrap it around." Oh, that's how it works. I was trying to think gently, thinking, "Oh, they must be placed in the ear just gently." He said, "No, just stuff them in, then wrap the cord around, then put your beanie over the top," because of course all he was worried about was putting his cap over the top to hide the earphones and that. But look, I think they work out really, really well. And when you're on these things for an hour or so, they can get quite warm having the headset on. But I don't mind that. But we had on Tech Down Over this week, we had Tom Sinclair on there. I don't know if you've seen a show called Streaming Idiots. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. So that was where Tom Sinclair in that one. Can I do that? There he is.
Oh, okay, there you go. I'm moving in.
Yeah. So that's what we did for Tech Down Over was Tom Sinclair.
All right.
This week. So he does a show called Streaming Idiots, which is a bit. I don't like saying that because it sounds like it's horrible, but it's a really good show. But his philosophy is, he says, if you call yourself a streaming idiot, it can't get any worse than that, can it?
Well,
so he said, so if anybody says I'm stupid or whatever, he said, well, I'm not trying to pretend to be anything else, am I?
People will be pleasantly surprised.
He does a really good show because he goes for about an hour, but he did most of it by himself. He just sits there like we're doing and talking to the camera like this, showing things, but he's not talking to anybody. He's not bouncing it off anybody. He's just talking to the audience.
Oh, he probably has an avatar of who he thinks his audience is, a picture right behind his monitor.
He does have a chat room sometimes, and the occasional help from there comes in. But what I like he does, he goes into different things. Like there's a product called vMix that's sort of the competitor to this Wirecast that's doing this switching, and he's sort of into that and shows all the different features of the product. But he does a darn good show that. And he's the people who develop Wirecast is vMix. It's a company in Australia.
Cool.
It does quite well, but they're going to NAB, and Tom's doing his show live from NAB with with them producing it. So I said, oh, gee, that's really good, isn't it? So,
there is something to be said for being sponsored.
well, but he's not being sponsored. He sells their stuff though. They're not paying.
Well, there you go.
He just forward sells on the things on there. But see, there's hope for us yet. See, they'll take us out to NAB and say, "Can you, Jeff and Jeffrey, come out here and do your show from NAB?" I don't think so.
No. You don't have room for a helicopter to land outside the building. We'll have to land it inside.
Well, that's right. No.
Yeah, supposedly they have news helicopters inside the building at NAB, I've heard.
They do, and they had what was it? Somebody was talking about this broadcast unit that was all interested in, and here I am thinking about something like this, a broadcast unit. No, it was a big B double that was about $5 million because it was. I thought, oh, that's what he was talking about. It wasn't. So but there's a lot of things there that's just great for the likes of you and me. And then there's other things, like you said, $1 million helicopters. Well, I think that'd be cheap for the real professionals, or what's it? A jib, like I'd say, jibs, $200, $500. There was one there that was dead cheap. They said really cheap. This remote controlled jib, only $75,000.
Yeah, well, that is cheap.
And
not for me.
And they're saying, but the people who were interested, gee, my God, that's cheap compared to the $150,000 it used to. That's what you. And so, but I even think it would have something for everybody because it's got so many things there. I'm really itching to get there for next year. I'll keep threatening to go there, but
I understand it is so big that it's hard to get to. You probably need one of those, what do you call them? Two-wheeled.
The Segways.
The Segways that people ride around, because I've talked to people who have been there, and podcasters that actually were there whenever they were co-siding with the podcasting convention, and you just couldn't get everywhere. There was just no way within the time allotted to get, and so you basically had to map it out and decide where you wanted to go. You couldn't just wander around. You had to go straight to where you wanted to go, or you wasn't going to get to see anything.
And I'm sure that would be the problem. But what the main reason I want to go is because there's so many people you rub shoulders with and talk to with the podcasting that they all go.
Yeah.
And I thought there's a chance to catch up with a lot of people just in that one area. You could catch up with all of them, because nearly everybody I follow on YouTube that's got a channel or anything I'm interested in, they all seem to be going there because they're all interested in that, what sort of cameras are out. So I just understood what they was all talking about. This is all due thanks to Tom. Thank you, Tom, about PTZ cameras. Or PTZ cameras, as we've got, and I keep hearing, and I had no idea what they were. Do you?
Nope, I have never heard the term. Now you can teach me.
That's why I know I like you, because you're about on the same level as me. I
didn't. Yeah, well, what I have is a Logitech C920 camera and a USB microphone, one of those Audio Technica 2005 microphones, and you have
that's a Logitech C920. That's it. That's a C920. Then that's this one is
dog cam.
Dog cam. Then this one's a cheap camera. It's the Canon XA10, the $1,899 web camera. So it's my video camera. So, but it does a really good job. I did have the Panasonic, which did an okay job, but this one does a much better job. But what a PTZ camera is, and you'll kill yourself. You'll say, oh, why didn't I think of that? And when I thought, well, of course, it says it all in the name, doesn't it?
Physical therapy.
Pan,
tilt,
and zoom. So pan, tilt, and zoom. I thought, and I'm glad I never asked a question to anybody. What's a PTZ camera? Because I just waited until somebody said what it was, because I thought
exactly
going to sound like a real. But they're really good on this vMix. One of the new things on it. It's got controllers, so you can use like the Xbox controller.
Ah.
And while you're
that
on
you
there,
just move the camera around
move it.
like that way.
Yeah, and if you've got a couple of them, you can set up shots, and then you say, "I want to go to position number 2." So if position number 2 is zoomed in on my eyes, it automatically does that. So yeah, if you want to give them the evil eye, like that.
Okay. Also, so you can just pre-program certain shots. Well, wouldn't that be nice if you had 2 people involved? Like, for instance, if my wife was sitting here beside of me, I could have one position on me and then just push the button. She starts to talk. It pans over to her by pushing, using your controller or whatever.
And one of the good things
that
they're
is
meant
really cool.
for, what they're meant for us as well, is when you do things like if you're into, it's usually in worship. So when you go to a church or something, the pastors or that don't like me or anybody standing there with a camera or a tripod on there. But if you put one camera on the top there, and then you can zoom in and get all the different shots if you want to get all the different angles without a person actually being there. But that's
cool.
really, really handy. And I've let also another thing that we're all talking about is NDI, Network Device Interface. I think it's NDI, is it? NDI? Network Device Interface, I think it is. And so what that allows you to do is, well, I've got that camera there, that camera there. What it allows you to do is any computer on your network that's got a camera connected to it, you can use.
Oh.
So if you're connected to an office network and you've got somebody in another country that's got a camera, you can bring that in. And there's, about very little latency. You can hardly notice the latency on that, but that's the latest thing, which I thought was quite good. So it saves you from having to get direct connections into the system as long as the people are on the same network. And I thought, gee, it just amazes me with this technology that only about 10 years ago, this was sort of science fiction, wasn't it? Imagine, like you say, 10 years ago, you could do a video broadcast which anybody could possibly see in such good quality. I mean, I know when we see the recording, it's not quite as good as we see it now.
I think it's not as good as we see ourselves, but the recording is almost as good as what you see the other person, though.
Yeah, but it's not too bad though, the things. But I mean, it's just this. Whereas if sometimes you can get through Skype and just go one in, it can be really good. That's what I want to try one of these days, is trying just to get a Skype session and doing a proper type show, so we can go into the different things and have you like the different settings with the monitor in the background, get rid of the microphone, and you can have you sat in the monitor, you see. Or different things like that. So doing all these different ones in like that. So because I've got all the different settings on. This is me just by myself with no background, but I can put all these things. I can put that one behind. You can do all the different ones, or lets me take down over one just with a little screen on there. But you can do all sorts of different ones if you want people, just different people in different monitors and that. So really good.
So that's optimized more for Skype, and it's just been adapted to Blab for the most part.
Well, that's right. Yeah. So
okay,
but that's where with Skype though, if you get a Skype one in, you can control. That's where the tricky thing is, because if you do it on here, it's got to be on another computer, so it picks the sound up off that computer.
Right.
So I can have a web page and it takes the sound from that, but I don't think Skype's treat as a separate web page, so you have to have it on a separate device. But I'll have to try that. I tried that with Rick, and all I just got, I could hear him, but all it was picking up from his loud voice coming through the earphones and coming through the mic, so you could just hear him. So it wasn't, I thought it was Skype, but it wasn't. It was just coming through from my earphones back to there. So
I have heard a lot of podcasters talk about their Skype connections and things like that, and a lot of them do use another computer, and then some of them will use what they call an eCam recorder. There's several different software. I never was happy with the concept of running Skype on a computer and then running a separate software on the same computer to record it. Resource wise, I don't even trust the computer for recording at all. I use a Zoom H5 or I have an H2N digital recorder, and I've done everything locally. I never have had to. I've been on other people's Skype things. I was interviewed by a podcast up in New York. I have been on a Google Hangout, but I've never set one up myself. And then I come on here, and this was so much easier than what I'd heard everyone else talking about.
Yeah.
So it was kind of surprising. But yeah, so as far as those things, everything I've done has been local. I haven't really moved out
and also
technology.
Also, when you do that, like if you do the show through Skype, and that you can do it, but you wouldn't be able to see me on Skype because you don't want my signal to be going back to you.
Right. They have to do a mix minus.
Yeah, and I still don't know what they mean by, but you've got to do something. So, like even Rick has trouble with what we do is he has the feed going to a monitor, and then what he sends back through Skype is what's on the monitor, not him. Instead of him, so I can see what's on the show. But the only thing is if he plays something on the show, I can't hear it. I've just got to watch it. But I said, we've had it where we get all the sound back. But the problem is, if you're not too careful, I get it back 3 seconds later.
Right.
And I said, I can't talk to him then because I said, I just, every time I open my mouth, I'm talking to myself and I don't know it just cuts me off.
Right.
And that's, so it's challenging. So we've just got it down pat, but I'm sure they'll have different features on this later. Hey, I'll tell you what, while I was doing it on there, what I wanted to let you listen to, just a little bit of one of my first voiceovers.
Oh, I'm totally...
not my voice, not one of my first voiceovers, one of my first recordings.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
I'll just see if I can say that. I'll just see if it's going.
There's ought to be a big bad wolf coming into town, so we got to build houses. The first one said, I must build my house with A. And the next one said, I must build my house with 6. And the oldest brother said, I must build mine with bricks. And it took him ages. And when the house was finished, it was just in time because the big bad wolf was coming. And he knocked at the face door. Little pig, let me. Let me. You can. I'm not coming. No. So we went and so he said, I'll left and I'll best and I'll play about it. So he asked and he pressed and he blew the house in. And he went to the one with the stick. He said, little bit, may I come in? No, it is my duty. You shall not come in. So he says, I'll up and I'll bust and I'll blow your house in. So he up and he burst and he blew the house in. So he went to the split one. No. The two little big was houses are blown down. They went to their brother and they said, please could you come in, the big bad wolf chasing us. All right. And I'll go left and I'll bust and I'll blow your house in. That's ending.
So huff and puff and blow your house in. I remember that story.
That was without a script as well, of course.
I'm totally impressed. How old were you at that point?
I think I was about 4, something 3 or 4.
I think my first debut was whenever I was barely talking, and my grandfather had been to an auction, and he said he was telling me about how the auction worked, and I'm like, okay. And he said, okay, you can be an auctioneer. Here's what you say: give me $1, give me $1, give me $1, give me 2, give me 2, give me 2, give me 3, give me 3, give me 3, and then say, sold to the man with the green shirt on. So I said, and I've heard a recording of this. That's probably long gone, but one at one at one at two to two to two to three to tree to tree to sold to the green man with the shirt on.
The green man with the shirt.
That was my first public debut. So the green man with the shirt on.
Like the things that I always used to think it was, what's it, Lee Marvin used to be singing, I was born under a one green star. I was born under a wandering star, but I was a one green star. I was
one green. There's actually a website somewhere that lets people put in words that they thought certain songs were. It'll be under a certain thing. I can't remember the name of the website, but you can actually type in what you thought a certain words were in a particular popular song, because people don't always enunciate well in music.
Well, I know, but even in the early days, remember ABBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like ABBA was so popular, but a lot of their words they weren't. So I don't know what a teasial is.
Oh.
But that's when they said, you're a teaser, you turn them on. You're a teasial. Right. But they didn't know the English words, so but there's a lot of those words that it's you're a teaser, you turn them on. Oh, but it didn't sort of come out like that. But now I still take my hat off to them how well they did do, though, considering they really didn't speak at all English at all, did they?
So was it done just phonetically then, as opposed to? Okay, I never. I mean, because it's actually pretty well done, I thought.
I thought, but as I said, considering that, like most of these people who sing a lot like that, they can speak fairly good English, but in the day they were struggling to say hello and what their names were in English. Mm-hmm. So to be able to sing all these hits thoroughly with not really knowing if they've got it right and that, but I'm sure there'd be plenty of people telling. But it's like these opera people; they can sing in Italian and German, but they can't speak the language, can they? They just sing opera and they just know how to just learn how to sing it. So, not that I know, because I've really got no intention or no interest in going to sit through a 4-hour opera or something. So, it's not
aren't you in Sydney?
On the Sydney Opera House, yes.
Yes.
But it's like, I don't know if you saw a show called Yes Minister. I don't know. It was an English show.
No, I've heard of it, but I haven't.
They had one of the main characters was Sir Humphrey Appleby, and he was trying to get some more money for the opera. He says, but nobody goes. He said, well, nobody likes the opera. It's part of our culture. It would be devastating if it wasn't there. But why do you go? Well, it's just the place to go. Nobody enjoys it. It's just, it's a night out at the opera. I wonder how true that is.
well, I'm sure there's some people that enjoy it. You see, you see on movies people tearing up, when it's happening and stuff like that. But I assume you might be able to feel some emotion, but if you don't understand the language, it's going to be a little harder to keep up with what's going on unless they give you a play-by-play program or something, because I've never been to the opera.
But the thing is, I'm saying that I wouldn't like opera as opera itself, but I would really enjoy watching, because I do appreciate people's skills, and it would more interest me to be watching these people and think, God, how talented are you to be able to do all that singing in a different language while you're doing a play at the same time. Like these musicians are just singing songs there, that's hard enough, but they're acting out a whole drama as well while they're singing as well. But when you do a lot of these things like podcasting and just videos, we're on the low end of it, but I really do appreciate these actors as well. Like we were saying with doing the audiobooks before, how I struggle when I've got the damn script in front of me. I've got it in 6-inch, I can read it, and I still can't get it, but they can go for 10 minutes, not make a word wrong, and they've read about 4 pages out without any prompts, and they just go for it. Well,
I think they make more mistakes than what we know they do. The difference between a professional photographer and a amateur is that you don't see all the pictures that the professional takes. And I think they make a lot of mistakes, but if they do it all the time, of course they're going to get better at it because they do it a lot more hours than we do it. But I mean, I would say, I mean, there's a lot of editing happening on them too. The only thing is they don't have to do their own editing.
Well, what made me, appreciate them more in one of my trips to Los Angeles, I went to see a couple of sitcoms being filmed. This was years ago. And I thought, 30 minutes.
Looks like you're freezing up.
Something while the film. So you just froze. Yeah, but 30-minute sitcom minutes to Kenny makes.
No, you're siloning, as they call it.
How hard?
We've never had that trouble before. The recording part of this should be interesting.
Wanting to
Okay, looks like I'm in here by myself right now, but it's still recording. So see if he gets back in.
No, you can't hear me.
But anyway,
I'm here.
I think we were talking about
Am I back in?
Back.
Am I here?
Yep, you're back.
I don't know what because it just dropped out and then I just clicked in, but I'm saying I'm here.
Yeah. Well, what I was hearing was the little Cylon sounding, the musical sounding. You remember the Cylons on Battlestar Galactica? It looks like you're frozen again. That's a great picture, though.
I was still.
We are waiting for Jeff to make it back in. Well, at this point, it looks like that the session may be over simply because Jeff has been kicked out. He's down in Australia, so we're trying to see what's going on. So anyway, that may be it for the show. We'll see. Jeff and Jeffrey Show. Find it on YouTube, holbrooknewmedia.com/YouTube.
Right, we're back.
Yay!
I had to close the whole block because I was doing it and I was coming into the room twice.
Okay.
I had two images and then you were just pulsating on the screen.
Well, that's what you have been pulsating on this end, but I could see me too. And then, I mean, I could see myself here in video, but then you were pulsing. So we were seeing exactly the same thing, but opposite.
And, I was doing some really good things on there as well. And nobody saw it and nobody heard it.
So sad.
Yeah, so I was putting the music on. I was putting this music on and it says, "You're watching the Jeff and Jeffrey Show."
Perfect.
And you missed all that. So, but when I was doing it, I didn't have my mic switched on anyway. So
okay.
And then I was showing different things of me startled look on my other show because I was showing me going, So I thought I was looking a bit startled anyway. So, oops.
Well, no, whenever you froze up there a minute ago, you were going.
Yeah.
You were going.
Yeah.
Like that. It looked great.
It was very strange. Very strange, though, that wasn't it? So, no, I must have lost something there. There we go. Yeah, it was. It always does. Like you stick your finger up your nose, and then that's when it pauses or something. Or exactly. You go to stroke it and just rub your nose, and then you end up. I thought that would be a good weekly catch up with us. 20 minutes of nothing happened. I did stop the recording or pause it for a little while. You might just have to cut out that little bit when I was trying to keep talking and that. But no, we haven't declared war on the US. So.
Yeah, I thought maybe they were trying to suddenly we weren't allowed to communicate anymore or something.
Mm.
Yeah, you never know whenever they're going to some political thing will start happening.
Well, we never said anything horrible about Donald Trump or anybody this week. Well, we never said anything horrible last week. We just played that little thing and just sat there staring at the screen for 50 seconds.
Well, yeah, it looked funny on the video because we were just sitting there and we would both laugh at the same time. Was good. That was good. We're sitting there going,
and then somebody's watched. But as I was saying while you was gone, I said we've still managed to get nearly an hour with nobody even passing by. And I always say to when you set these, I don't know if you've set up a blab before.
No, I haven't.
But you can set them up so it's like you do YouTube, so you can have it public or you can have it non-public, so nobody knows you're on. So you can just do that.
Oh, well, see, that it used to be all public before. I didn't think they were going to make private labs, but I noticed now on the front screen that some of them have been set up for 190 days or something.
Well, not so much private, but like YouTube, you have you can have it public. So as soon as you've finished it, it goes and says, "Here, look at the Jeff and Jeffrey show."
Okay.
If you don't do that, it won't do that. It will still be there, but you've got to send the link out.
Okay.
So, also, like if we're doing a show like this, then not a lot of people will come. Nobody will come by.
I think of it more of I think the hour is probably what's against us, but I think more of it as a recording medium.
Yeah.
Less a social medium, and then you get the recording, and then you just use this to do like it's an easy recording. We don't have the problems that you would have on, if you were trying to do it even with a Google Hangout, which sometimes can be a little tough. I understand because I've never set one of those up either. I've been on one, but I've never set one up.
And speaking of that, that's what now as well, what Rick and I've just started to do last week and this week. Now we stream the show live on YouTube because that's easy to do. So you can start up the YouTube and have a chat section on that, but it's not that good for the chatting because it's about 15-second delay.
Oh, okay.
But that's fine for live. Just to, at least you've got a free thing, and it will save the recorded section or the live stream, and then you've got another copy of your thing that you can edit and put up again as well. So edit bits out as well. So, and they supply a cut down version of Wirecast for you to be able to do that, to organize shots. So if you want to stream a show, so what you can do in Wirecast on my version anyway, what I can do is on a timeline, I can simply put say an intro and say, "Hi, this is Jeff. Watch this week's episode of Jeff and Jeffrey."
Okay.
And after that runs, it goes to the next thing, and it'll run the Jeff and Jeffrey show. And then he said, "Wasn't that a great episode? Now sit back and listen to the second one." Oh no, more. So that's what people are doing though on YouTube. You can broadcast that out.
Okay.
Just do that so you can have your live channel going.
Oh, okay. So you just have this constant live channel going. Kind of.
So but if you do that, so you can set up a bit of a show with an intro for each one and a bit of an advert in the middle if you wanted to do without having to switch it much. You just hit on Wirecast, you just hit go.
Wow.
It just plays it in the area that you can do. So
I've been behind the times on all this kind of stuff. I haven't got into the more modern streaming and the technologies and stuff like that.
I did one little one through Wirecast using that as a little promo. What I might do, I might send you the link to that separately. I won't record because it's got other people that might not appreciate, because I did it like a promo for the show.
Oh,
and it was, but I said I didn't put it out there without asking them, because I thought it was a bit funny, the promo. So, but it was good just to test out the Wirecast. And the thing was, on the Wirecast, you can see when you read it, you set it up so okay, I've got to say this within 5 seconds, because if I don't, it's going to cut to the next shot.
Okay.
So, But when you get like that and you know all the things you've got to say, oh, I've already said it. 3, 2, 1. But instead of going, hi and welcome, look what we've got next on the show.
Oh yeah, it's like,
But
yeah,
then if
you're stuck.
then you go, hey, guess what we've got? Oh, Dan, I've done it too slow. But it's amazing when you take 5 seconds. Oh, yeah, that's quick. But when if you know what you're saying, it goes fairly quickly into and there's some other stuff on there as well. So
yeah, you just have to throw in something else.
That one on there as well. But
wait a minute, that's a good time for the nose thing. Yeah,
that's right.
I'll
send you
like it froze.
Because I mean, you can do other things like I haven't messed around with anything, but and there's just my lower third without me.
Oh,
I haven't put it on myself yet. So because with the show I do with Rick, this is the one I have set up. He does all the lower thirds and on his end. So if I put my lower third, it just looks stupid on the top of his. If he puts it on, so I'll just leave that alone.
Lays over it like that. Huh. Okay.
Yeah, I just like. I think I'll go to Yosemite. I think I want to be in Yosemite. Where are we? So there we go. I'll go in Yosemite.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Half Dome. That's really cool. You can throw all that stuff behind you like that. I like it.
It looks quite good. I should, but if I don't like to put moving video because it will eat up the bandwidth, and that's it's hard enough just getting a single signal out there. So I thought best not mess around with what I am looking for. Actually, I just can't seem to find it. Like here, I've got the green screen on there, but I'm looking for how you can have these rigid self-standing green screens. Because this one's got the stand, but it takes up 3/4 of the room, with the spread out crow's feet type things. But I have these really nice ones, these rigid ones, like the deflectors, but big ones. Because the room I've got my computer, and I keep moving this out of here and going upstairs so I can, do video editing and that, because I don't like being stuck in this room that's all shut off with the lights and that, and it's got the sound dampening in. That's fine if I can open the curtains on a nice sunny day, but I've got all the green screen stuff there, so I don't want to take that down every time. But if I could get one of those things, you just fold it up when you're finished, then it wouldn't be so bad in this room, because it's quite a good room because it's small enough. I've got the air conditioner. I can switch that on, and it will cool down and quieten down and won't go too loud in there. Whereas in some of the bigger rooms, it just doesn't do that. But I'm still tossing up whether I need to get another machine for here. But I'm just tossing up what to get.
You can never have too many machines.
No, well, the thing is I'm a Mac person, but I don't want to spend another same amount for this Mac, because I've moved. Last week I was on the MacBook Pro, but this week I'm not. I'm on. Hang on, let's see the action cam shot.
Okay.
There's the action.
There
we are on the action cam shot there.
Okay.
It's hard to show when you're doing all the opposite. Yeah, so that's on the back of the iMac, the 27-inch, and then the Acer 23-inch monitor that I'm looking at you at, because then I've got the
there's the camera there.
Canon camera, the XA10 going on there as well. So,
and then there's your Procaster.
Yep, there's a Procaster, and then there's the.
So what's the measuring for?
Sorry,
what's your tape measure for?
I was measuring up a desk.
Oh, okay.
Well, measuring things, but I'm not that skilled at measuring things. You see, so I have a tendency of measuring things, and if I measure something 6 inches, it always ends up being 8 inches.
Oh,
I'm very challenged when it comes to anything like being a handyman. I always say to people, it's lucky if I can hit a nail in straight. That's how handy I am. So you're saying you're mechanically declined. That's right. So I do know how to operate the tape measure.
Yay.
And like even here, it's a lot easier. It's in centimeters and millimeters, and you can't go wrong with millimeters. If it's 1,000 millimeters, it's easy. It's 1,000 millimeters. Well, 650. I can measure something like that. Go and get something that's 650, and it definitely won't be the same size when it gets back. if I've done it. If somebody else, like I'm trying to do some measure up for some curtains, if I wanted to do that, but I'll get somebody else to do it because I know I'm going to have ones 8 feet long and 400 feet wide or something. I know I'm going to, but like that, let's say 650 millimeters across, but I always end up with something different. I don't know why.
My wife is always best on those type of things. She's it's kind of nice to have her to rely on. Sometimes there are things that I can do she can't, things she can do I can't. Between the two of us, we make one decent person. 32 years later, I guess that's good.
Well, that's I suppose that's why you have are still there 32 years later, because you complement each other. Because if you're exactly the same, usually it doesn't work.
No, it wouldn't. Most people, when they meet me, they think that she is just a real quiet, like mouse person. She's not. She's just as talkative as I am. And, I mean,
but it's just a different thing. So it's like, she might not be talkative to other people, but she is to you. But like you like to be talking out on his, and she not interested in doing that publicly or.
Well, I think she will. I've talked about it. We're in the process of renovating this room that I'm in right now, and we're setting up. Our daughter moved out. I'm actually in my daughter's bedroom right now. What was her bedroom, but we're setting up what is actually the master bedroom in the plan down on the first floor. And we're going to set that up for her project room, because now we have our bedroom, but then we've got a project room each. So that works out good. Whenever we do that, we're talking about her and I getting on here and doing some blabbing and stuff like that. But it isn't something that she's done yet. But once we get her set up down there, then we may try it a little bit, I think.
But that's the thing is with these days, it used to be a big deal, but now people just have to just get they're all used to. Everybody's used to seeing people on video. Nobody thinks a second thought about it these days. It's actually thought of a bit strange if they don't see you on these sort of things.
That's true. Well,
and then it still amazes me however many areas you go onto there, wherever you go, it's still people never see what you do.
Yeah, that's true. Another thing I'm finding that if you're on here, but you're not really up on the latest technology, such as the streaming and stuff like that, that you're kind of the extra guy on the outside, because somebody says, oh yeah, well I did this. And remember you told me the two types of cameras and things and technology that we were talking about. I'd never heard of them because I haven't kept up with video technology at all. But now here I am doing a video show because this is just so easy. It's just so easy to do. And I don't know about all the other stuff, and I haven't really gotten into video that much. I've always been more into audio.
But even then, with all the bits and bobs that are going around these days, you don't have to be involved in as much. Because a lot of people say, oh, I've put this together, I've put that together. But what they've done, they've just accessed this widget, turned that thing on and done that. Whereas years ago, I'll have to drag it out in one of my earlier videos where I did some titling. My God, it was painful and woeful. But back in 1984, when you had what was it? It was a Commodore 64.
Yes, I had a 64.
And you know how you used to put that through the antenna socket of a TV to play the video while the pitch is so high, and then these little things called sprites.
Yes. No, we were programming the 64, and I ran a bulletin board system back in there, back in the 80s, the late 80s.
And I programmed. I was very good. I programmed that for the sprites to draw some titles for me.
Sure.
And it was like I died and gone to heaven when I'd done it. But now I'll look back, I thought, 2-year-olds could do a better job now with what the tech. But even then, I had to tell the sprite, go down, fill the screen, turn right, stop, down, right, to draw each letter. I couldn't say type A, B, C. You had to work it out. Say, go this, stop, down, right, left, and then fill it up with color.
Calculations, yeah.
And I thought,
it was after the year 2000. I was transferring some 8mm film stuff and I wanted to. It was like some family reunions, and I wanted to be able to put when it was, and I didn't have anything to do titling, and it was like you say, it's around 2000 or so, and I didn't have anything for any titling or anything. All I was doing was, videoing it. I was moving it over to VHS tape at this point, and what I did was busted out the Commodore 64 and brought out a program that I had written called Calendar Creator, that it would put a calendar on the screen. And and so what I did was put so many seconds of the calendar, because everyone knew that these Christmas parties and were like the first weekend of December, and they also knew that the summer reunion was on the 4th of July. So everybody knew. So all I did was just plopped a basic black screen with a green calendar grid on the screen and had the year, because it would automatically calculate the year and everything, and put that on the screen, and it was on there for however long. They could see what year it was. Then I would play the footage from that. And I used the 60. That was the last official use I ever had for a Commodore 64. I blew the dust off of it and still had a working 1541 drive at that point, and got the thing out and actually used it for that, or loaded up one of my old programs. I couldn't believe it.
I threw all my stuff out, and I don't know. Wish I'd kept it now. It would have been, but then again, it would still be another.
The 1541 is dead, but I still have my Commodore 64.
I had the Commodore 64 still there. I had the VIC 120.
Yeah, the VIC was let's see, the VIC 20. Yeah, you had the VIC 20, which was first, and then the Commodore 64, and then Commodore 128.
128, that's the one. Yes, because I remember I had that, because and that was fantastic. I remember my first Commodore 64 with the tape drive.
Yes. Yeah, listen to all that stuff.
Take 5 minutes to load the program, and all the program did was, I don't know what it did, but something was
some
rubbish.
Space Invaders or something.
Oh yeah. But if it was that.
Or it would ask you a question and you would answer, and then it would say right or wrong, a quiz program or something like that. Just very simple.
Then again, I miss those ones, because they really did get you into, because if you started learning a little bit about programming, you worked out how to do a flow chart, and then you learned how to do a program, because you had nothing out of it if you didn't do that, because there was no real great things for it. So if you didn't make your own, like I think everybody wrote their own little home database program for your contacts or your accounting, and you created all that, and that was great for that, because you never had any internet.
Well, in this area, I was the vice president of the local Commodore Computer Club. And things that we did things we actually used the Commodore 64 to control a robot. Like there was this modular robot that the club owned, and you could somebody could take it home, and then they would be writing programming for it, and then they could take different modules and put them together and make robots that did different things and control it with that. And then one time I brought in my brother and his wife, and they used a Commodore 128 to control 6 synthesizers. And played music through them. I mean, it's, so we were looking, and I know a ton of people use them for ham radio, what they call packet. And so they were using them as controllers for all kinds of things. There was little things we were doing, like I was doing a little bit of programming and stuff. My youngest brother, he is a seat of your pants programmer. He would discover things that weren't in the book. And I had a programmer's reference guide. It was about so thick, and I'm a reader. And I can do well with the reading. So I would read and discover things that he didn't know. And then we would be writing programs together. But he was just brilliant at the, the leaps of logic and stuff like that he could do. And so it really worked out well. I kind of missed the days when things were so simple. Every file in your computer, you knew it because you put it there. And now everything's just being done to you.
And that's right. Whereas you could learn all the things in your computer, but now you have to get to the stage, well, don't bother, because there's no way you're going to learn that, because there's that many pages of code just in, say, Windows. Right. You're never going to understand that. And like they have 50,000 people to build it.
Right, that's what I'm saying. There's no way. I stopped programming when I realized I wasn't going to be able to compete with these big commercial teams of programmers.
No, because you just get
It's just not going to happen. So.
then, like you said, the simpler times, and I think that's why formats like this blab work out so well, is because early on when I was much younger, they had like the CB radios.
Oh yeah.
And people used to just get to talk to people, and that's sort of like the precursor to this. You used to get thrilled to bits, and I know if you ever got somebody from America, if you could get them on the because if the conditions were just right, sometimes you'd pick somebody up from over, but it had to be just right. The sun had to be at the right position.
Exactly.
And we used to have like clubs, the radio clubs that you'd go to and talk to people. And then I used to like microphones. I still remember now there was a Gleason desktop microphone that and it had a big button where you pressed and talked into.
Yes, I know what you're talking about. A lot of the CB base stations were set up that way, and then some of the the ham radio type of things. I think. Have you heard of the Heil PR40 microphone that people use?
Yes, I know exactly. Well, similar sort of look. Yeah.
But Bob Heil actually came up through ham radio, and he's still into it. So he was making ham radio microphones to start with.
This is how bad I had it when I had my first CB radio when I was probably about 13. Was it 12 or 13? And I had it strapped to my bike.
Oh wow!
With an old lithium battery I bought from the Army and Navy store that you could buy for 99 cents.
Wow.
And they were disposable, but you plugged it in. So they used to last for about a week, these lithium batteries, and had the antenna on the back spokes. So you got
to have them. Yeah, the whip.
Oh, it was really cool. As it was like chips in the highway patrol. You was
exactly.
And I thought, God, how ridiculous was it? But you had it on your bike. You had your TV radio.
I had never seen one on their bike, but I mean, we bought a truck that had one in it, and so we lived way up on this mountain, and so we got to talk to people in other states and stuff just on the CB. It was pretty cool though. But, it's a long time.
This was a push bike, not a motorbike.
Oh yeah. Just a regular bike. What I wonder about? Did you all have when we had the CB craze here? It was all about truckers.
Yes.
Were you all about truckers too, or we had television shows and all kinds of stuff?
Yeah.
Was that part of it too? It wasn't just CBs; it was also the truckers too.
The truck, yeah, that's right. So because that's where it sort of started from, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, so there were some songs come out and stuff like that, and some actual television shows, and it became part of and some movies, and kind of became part of the culture during that period of time. That died down fairly rapidly, though.
10-4, good buddy.
Oh yeah, there was a whole bunch of songs. Yeah, all the 10 codes.
But I just can't remember any of them now. But you always used to say, what's that?
10-4, and then 10-20 was your location.
Yeah, 10-20, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, there was just a whole bunch of them. I never did learn them because I wasn't very official on there anyway.
But it was really a different time. Then what killed it here, I don't know if it killed it there, but what killed it here is then they changed the frequency to FM.
Oh.
And so all the CB radios, rather than being able to get maybe somebody interstate, when it went to FM, you were lucky if you could get somebody in your city.
Oh,
it was like AM, like the AM radio and the FM radio. AM radio travels forever.
Sure.
If you've got a decent thing, you could get it. But if it's FM, there's a huge building in the way. You never get anything.
Well, as far as I know, we can still broadcast the same way they always did, from what I can tell. But they had something called sideband, which I don't know that much about. I'm not a radio guy.
And that's what they did. The sideband was the higher one of the AM and the sideband, but it used to get you a stronger signal. But here they outlawed that, and it went to FM. So you got rid of all that. So because it stopped people from being able to communicate over larger distances.
I mean,
so
what was the actual reason behind doing that? Just to keep that from happening, or?
Yes, and to register everybody. So then you had to get a license to do it. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we supposedly have had licenses for that type of stuff, but I think they did away with the license here, I thought.
but it just killed a very prosperous sort of business that
Mm-hmm.
the people were in, because once you went to the FM, oh yes, it was much clearer. It was like really clear signal, but, but you couldn't speak to hardly anybody. So,
Oh,
and it was like the sideband, like anything, like your old analog phones.
yeah.
Sometimes you can get a rubbishy signal, but at least you still get a signal with your current iPhone or your Android phone. If it's not a good signal, you get nothing.
Right. It's all or nothing.
Whereas the other ones you used to get, you say, "No, I'm fading out," but you know they'd fade back in. But on a digital, if no, they're going to go, it just shuts down, doesn't it? So
it's either there or nothing. That's sad.
But I think it's just amazing how people can kill things. Anyway, I think it's about time we've wrapped up, isn't it?
I'm beginning to think so.
Yes.
Well, go ahead and give them your website and how we can get a hold of your stuff.
Yes, well, how you can do is look at my website is www.jeffblanchard.com.
Sounds good.
No AU on the end, just the jeffblanchard.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I might do that. I might put another site in there just for these blabs and put them up as well. So I might as well.
Well, there you
go. I can put the links in there and just a link to the blab site.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can even put them up on YouTube. But I'll point it to your site, actually. I'll put a link on my site to your YouTube.
Okay.
And you get the best of both worlds. So if they come to mine, they click to yours to get to see it. So I can embed it from that if you do it on YouTube and that's it.
And then that'll be holbrooknewmedia.com. You can say /YouTube, and that'll take you straight to my YouTube channel as well.
Oh, okay. So that's good. So we'll look forward to catching up with you next week for the number 3. So let's see. Hopefully we don't have any technical issues next week. So.
Well, hopefully not, but I will send you a quote. We'll start working on that too. We'll talk about what we're doing, and then we will go ahead and jump into the quote and just see what we think of that.
Yeah, because it might be different if we've got something to say rather than just rambling on for an hour and a bit. So
might be a good thing. Well, if you have an idea for another segment, let me know, and we can throw that in there too.
Well, that's right. And you never know, somebody might join us.
That may happen.
Well, might be able to find some people or I know. Or the trouble with you as well is finding somebody else at 6 a.m. that's prepared to do that.
Exactly.
But at least mine, I might be able to at 8 p.m, so I might be able to. Anyway, I'll stop. We'll finish this and hang up the recording now.
Sounds
okay.
good.